Oh boy. What are we gonna do with all of that? What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Las Vegas Grand Prix deadline stream for the next 2 hours. I will be here freaking out about what to do about all of that nonsense we just witnessed. Hopefully, y'all are doing well. Hopefully, my cats and my wife don't murder me for doing a stream at 3 o'clock in the morning. But so, if you can do me a favor to make it worth it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to ask a question, give me that subscription. We are 41 subscribers away from 4,000. I don't think we're going to get it on this stream, but who knows? Who knows? You see, that's a bunch of chaos happening in my house right now. But here is the squad right now. We got Lando Norris, we got George Russell, Bortoleto, Sainz, Gasly. It's a cluster. It's a cluster. I don't know what we're gonna do, but let's get into the chat here real quick. Let's see what's everyone up to. MacTech say, let's see if I wake up. Sammy says, currently 9:30 a.m. This is lovely. How's things, lads? This might be the most difficult team selection. I currently have McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Alonso, Sainz with 3 free transfers on 132.4 million. I'm so lost, LOL. Thoughts on a Norris, Verstappen, Russell, Ocon, Gasly, Sainz, Ferrari, Mercedes build for -10? Is it out there? It is out there. Thanks again. I'm right back to where I was like a year ago at this point, where I was like, Mercedes look really good. Don't they? Mercedes look really good, and I'm just gonna bottle it and stick with McLaren, and they're gonna suck. I already tweeted out that I'm looking forward to both McLarens being in the bottom 5 after their first Q1 runs. And yeah, that is that's where I'm at with that. Verstappen and Norris, really tough. I think it's gonna be Verstappen for me, but there's a whole hour and 58 minutes for us to get into that hell of co. But I think if you have to make a decision right now, I'm feeling Verstappen. Samsey says, as much as I'd like to keep Norris for Qatar, as I know I'll be bringing him back, and Verstappen looks very quick and always has been at Vegas. That is true. Sims post FP2 favored Ferrari over Mercedes, but I can't get behind that this week. Yeah, as far as the Sims go, I think I'd have to say that this is probably the least convinced I've been about the F1 Fantasy Tools simulations so far, and that's not like their fault. That's just like there's not a lot of data going on, but I don't know. I'm not ready to go full send on Ferrari as a constructor, mostly because I still don't think they have the upside to win this race. Like I feel like Max has the upside to win it, so I'd favor Red Bull. I think Russell has the upside to win it, so I'd favor Mercedes. I mean, those are the 2 previous winners of the Las Vegas Grand Prix, so I wouldn't say I'm going out on a limb saying something like that. McLaren, apparently like an electrical sensor issue possibly going on in their car right now as well, but I'd still back the world championship leader, Lando Norris, to potentially have an okay go at this track as well. But the thing about Ferrari is I've trusted the data before. I've trusted my gut before with them this season, and they've burned me both times. So I'm still not entirely sure I can go there, Sparrow. But thank you for the note. Alo55 N8L says, hey, Ewan, 5.4 million left. Alonso or Colapinto? I guess that really depends on your situation. I would go with Colapinto just because he can't lose you any budget. So if you are in a smaller budget and you're really trying to like eke out every inch of budget, you can't lose any more budget, and you could just go to Alonso next week. All right, lots of people in the chat. I hope you guys are all doing well. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. Nice and early on a Saturday morning for me. I think I'll need coffee and an energy drink to be fully awake. Yeah, I've already had the coffee. I've got some Gatorade. I got some bubbly water over here, so we'll see how that goes. Trixie Bovisi says, hear me out. McLaren to Williams. Oh my days. That is spicy, sir. Lando and Russell or Max and Russell? I think I'd be leaning Max and Russell right now, but I'm gonna keep an eye on X and see if we get any kind of notice about anything going on with McLaren, like if that issue is serious. Good morning, a late Friday night for me, says Sparrow. Confusing weekend, says Sammy. 2 a.m. UK waiting for the dreaded Norris Verstappen to pair with Russell as their qualifying is supposedly going to be damp. Also has to be Verstappen sub in surely if it is going to be wet in qualifying, which let's go check this out. So what does the radar say for us? What does the radar say for us? Oh my goodness, that's a lot of rain, so I'm probably gonna go with Max Verstappen. Yeah, I got about 3 hours of sleep from Thursday to Friday night, and then I probably got like a grand total of like 4 more hours last night. So if I do some weird stuff on this stream, please excuse me or like and subscribe for more craziness. Dropping McLaren to Ferrari for Lando and Verstappen, Ferrari / Merc. Wowza. Are those the only moves you can make then? I would maybe even go to Red Bull instead of Ferrari. Christoph. Sup? Says Cyphers. What is up, Cyphers? Hi, you in love from India. It's 7:30 a.m. here. Good morning. Good morning. I wish it was 7:30 a.m. here instead of 3 o'clock in the morning. But thank you for joining. Ceci says McLaren, Mercedes, Norris ×2, Antonelli, Behrman, Tsunoda, Gasly. Considering no changes or something with Behrman and/or Tsunoda, maybe to Williams. Could pull Tsunoda and Antonelli for Russ. Would be nice to keep a transfer though. No clue. Thoughts? Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing at all, and that's why one of the transfers I'm thinking about making might just be Gabby Bortoleto out to Esteban Ocon and just call it a day. I kind of like what the Haas is doing. I like what they've been up to over the last kind of like 2 or 3 races since they got that update in Qatar. Or not Qatar, Coda, as I look at Qatar on my calendar. So that might be the move there, because then if we go to the budget builder, we can see that like Ocon is pretty good for a price rise, I think. So if we go to the sims, if we add in the sim data here, it's got Ocon at an 87% chance of a 0.6 price rise, which is quite nice. So that's the one move I'm thinking about making. There are other moves, but we'll get into it across the stream. I still don't know if I'd buy into Williams. I know they look okay, but Quali-Sim, I mean, they're a distant 5th, but they're also a distant 5th the other way, where they're like way ahead of the pack. And I mean, long straights, it should be pretty good for a team like Williams, but yeah, I mean, the F1.com data didn't even come in with any race pace data, like, because there was so little running in FP2, or so little long run data in FP2. Oh, seriously having deja vu back to this time a year ago where I was like bricking it over going with Mercedes, and now I'm kind of like doing the same with Williams. But I think enough exposure to Williams with like a Carlos Sainz is probably going to be okay for me. Bipolar week, says Without. Yes, I agree. Thoughts on a triple Mercedes, Ferrari, and Leclerc lineup along with Colapinto and Sainz? That sounds like a good autopilot chip to me. What happened to McLaren? They went out early and then they didn't come back out of the garage for like the best times on the track. Mitch says, bro, 3 a.m. is some dedication. Yes, it is. There's a Star Wars battle going on in the background. Yes, it's yes. It's a trap, but yeah, there are 2 cats in here still on quarantine for 1 more day before they can all go out and be together. Glenn says, yo, you and I'm here. You've been warned. Hi, says Alligator. Telemetry issues at the end. Times aren't represented, but it's hard to know where they're at. Yeah, absolutely no idea. Julia says, according to F1 website, Norris has Electrical issues and Piastri had problems with telemetry. Hello, gent, says Michael. Thank you for the tip, Julia. Alligator says, current Verstappen, Russell, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes, 134 million. Still have autopilot, 3 transfers. Keep Verstappen / Russ or go Norris Russ with Gasly plus Colapinto. 1 to max points is leading with my league by 100 points. I think if you're looking to maximize points, I would go with Max Verstappen there. Morning, says Quasar. Can't trust the Sims this week, says Alexander. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat there. Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Behrman, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes. I have 3x, which I'll use in Qatar. Will be wrong to move from Leclerc and Bortoleto to Antonelli and Albon for Vegas for now. I think with 3 races left, it really is about optimizing all these opportunities. The problem for me is that I actually don't have a lean on what opportunity is presenting itself to us this week in Las Vegas. So we need to kind of figure out what is going on there, as my big cat is absolutely not very happy about what is going on right now. So, but let me go open this door a little bit so you can see that we're in here. I'll be right back. Give me 10 seconds. Like I said, I'm navigating some madness here in the house. If I am murdered, it wasn't my actual wife that did it. It's 3 a.m. tired as wife that murdered me. So stand up for her in court when I'm dead. Okay. So if you feel like that's a good opportunity right now to go with that, then there we go. Go with that. So here we go. Lycama says, hello, you, and I'm locked in on McLaren, Mercedes, Verstappen, Antonelli, Gasly, Behrman, Sainz. I have final fix, autopilot, 3x chips less. So what scenarios in quali will it make sense to use the FF chip this week? I don't know, honestly. I guess, well, you've got Verstappen, but I don't know if McLaren will have... I don't know if Lando and Oscar really have the bottle to kind of do a Verstappen drive through the entire field, especially if their car is like slightly struggling in Vegas as well. So the final fix opportunities may not be there this weekend. Verstappen, Antonelli, it might be an okay autopilot chip week there, though. That wouldn't be too bad. Alexander says, triple Mercedes here. You go taking some big chances for mini leagues. Yes, that is good. Furlough for State says, should I use 3x on Norris, Verstappen plus Russ? I prefer to save it for Qatar, but if you have to use it this week, then maybe I'd go Verstappen plus Russell. Good day, Ewan, says Mark. Bortoleto out. Gasly stays versus Behrman, Norris, and Antonelli to Russell. Yes, Bortoleto out. Gasly stays, I think, for me. And then Norris and Antonelli to Russ. I think I would go with Russell. I think I just like the consistent ceiling of Russell. I know Antonelli had a good 1 week race in Brazil and finished ahead of him on track in Mexico, but if I'm going to take like the Mercedes kind of route, it's going to be with George Russell. I think he's just been consistently better over the course of the season. So I'm just going to ride with that. And he's the defending champion at this track, so I'm not going to get too worked up about it. Norris, Russell, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes, 134.5 million budget and 3 free transfers. I want to get out of Alonso, maybe go for differential, but I'm stuck. Then you're probably going to have to do something like Norris to Verstappen and then like Alonso to an Ocon. Or though you need like 2 million for that. You could maybe even go Alonso to Hadjar, yeah, because if you go Norris to Verstappen, that'll get you 1 million, and then you can go Alonso to Hadjar for some more points there. Had the perfect team for Brazil with Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Gasly, Berman, McLaren, Mercedes, but now I'm kind of stuck with no inspiration for my Vegas transfers. I'm contemplating not making transfers for the first time, says Quasar. Sometimes the best move is to not make a move at all, Quasar. So I totally understand where you're coming from there. I'm kind of feeling the same way. Like, I just have to get rid of Bortoletto. Like, he has a, like, what is he at? 99% chance of falling. So I just don't really want that in my team. And I haven't been super impressed with what we've seen from, I guess they did okay right now, but all these times I'm not entirely sure if they're representative at all. Like, I kind of believe like this stuff here, but yeah, I'd probably go definitely Alonso to Hadjar. That feels like a nice move to the previous question. Samsey says, locked in Verstappen 2X with Russell and Mercedes and McLaren as a Ferrari fan this year has been painful, but I cannot trust the red. Yeah, you want to like hedge the emotional damage of being a Ferrari fan there, Samsey. You don't want to have them in your F1 fantasy team and they fail you, and then they fail you in real life as well. That would just be too brutal. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. In a conundrum, 3 transfers, wildcard 3X, limitless, 131.7 budget currently. Ferrari, McLaren, Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Hadjar, Colapinto. Should I have those chips? I'm first in my league by about 200, but want to seal the deal. Wowza. You have all those chips? I mean, there's nothing wrong with your squad, so it could be, that's probably a good weekend to limitless. I would probably limitless this weekend with Verstappen, Russell, Antonelli, Leclerc, Norris, and then Mercedes and Red Bull. Just go for it. Hello from Canada, 7 p.m. here. I'm stoked to watch some F1 in prime time for once. Well, that is, I'm glad you guys are gonna get you're gonna get some good running at an appropriate time. What was the business that Roof Buscombe was referring to about McLaren? I guess some sensor, electrical, and telemetry issues from what the people are telling me here right now, Michael. So I guess we'll see what we're up to. Glenn says, if I was you and I'd swap Lando for Max and Gabrielle for Ollie. Let's see if we can persuade him, because that's exactly the team I'm looking at. Yeah, I mean, those are the transfers I have been like touting since. What are you doing, you little demon? Since team selection 2 weeks ago, when I posted that, like right after the Brazilian Grand Prix, I was like, the 2 easy transfers for Vegas will probably Max Verstappen and then Gabby for Ollie Behrman. And I guess what I was saying at the time that maybe I should be following myself is, if you have a guy that's going to DNF, like say Ollie Behrman DNFs, like you're still locked in to that price rise, which kind of softens the blow almost. But, oh, I'm going to hate myself if this goes wrong, but I can't shake that I don't mind Ocon that much. So, what are you doing? That is Midge. That one's Midge. Any rain expected? I think it's like hit and miss. We can go to the hourly forecast here, Furlough. Let's go check it out. So qualifying is at 8 p.m., I believe. Is that right? 8 p.m.? What time is qualifying local time? Let's go check it out. 8 p.m. Right now it's saying 49% chance of rain, but the forecast is saying just cloudy. So it might be like a last second call. 6 p.m. here. I have 12.9 million for one more driver. Who should I pick? Damn, 0.9 short of Albon. You can get to Sonoda, but how did Sonoda do in FP3? Where was he at? I know the times aren't representative, but I kind of want to see some things. So it's kind of not a lot going on there. And then if we go to the team calculator, we can see that Sonoda's at 8.4 points. So it's really not a great bang for your buck. Maybe Sainz, Behrman, or Ocon for me there. Speed and power 1-1-1-1-1. Bortoletto, Alonso to Hadjar, Gasly enough to fund for Russell to Piastri next week. So those are both going to go down 0.6 or 0.4 in Alonso's case. Hadjar and Gasly, if they keep it on track. Actually, I don't know what the deal is with Hadjar this week. What are his points? So he needs 10 points for a max price rise, but 5 points for a price rise. So that'll be 0.8. I mean, those moves alone will not get you there because you're going to be, let's see, even if Piastri go down 0.3, he'll be 25.4. Russell will be 23.8. So you're still 1.6 away. I guess if you're including those transfers, then Alonso and Borletto is 1 million, and then you might go up 1 million the other way. So I guess that's a 2 million swing if that's the way you want to do it. It's really early for some loosey-goosey maths like that, but I believe that should be okay. Wild card for 127. Any recommendations? You can pretty much do the squad that I would have on screen here, I believe-ish, for what, 127? So you might need to go like to Red Bull and then to Antonelli. Let's build that together here real quick. Let's see here. So 12.8 million, that should get you there because I'm at 138. So like something like this would work for you. Hey, Ewan, I'm on Norris, Antonelli, Behrman, Hadjar, Borletto, and McLaren Mercedes. Going to swap Borletto out. Besides that, maybe Norris for Max or maybe Hadjar out. I have 2.3 million extra. Yeah, I would take Bortoletto out. Agree with that. Norris for Max is very tempting. Hadjar out feels maybe a little unnecessary, especially with, like, they seem to keep getting the most out of that car. I kind of underestimated them going into Mexico, and they have punished me the last 3 races, or Mexico and Brazil, and I feel like they're going to punish me again in Las Vegas for not kind of believing in Racing Bulls all that much. So I think you could keep Hadjar. Thoughts about Leclerc, Kimi dropping McLaren for Red Bull, also Bortz to Ocon and Alonso for Hadjar. Leclerc should be okay. Kimi should be okay. Where did Leclerc even show up? 15th. Let's see here. Dropping McLaren for Red Bull. I don't know if I do that just because you probably want to bring McLaren back in for Qatar. So, but Bortz to Ocon is a good move. Alonso for Hadjar is also a good move, yes. Maddie McGizzle says, I missed FP3. What on earth happened to McLaren? They just went out early. And then they had some issues where they weren't able to go back out for the final runs. Hey, you and your dedication is almost admirable. I appreciate that, William. Thank you. Can you suggest Limitless Team? Is it smart to apply it now? I mean, if you've got 3 chips left and one of them is Limitless, this might be a not great race for Limitless just because there are so many overtakes. So over the last 2 seasons, Las Vegas has the most overtakes per race, which usually means that the B tier drivers score quite a lot. Like if we go to the statistics on F1 Fantasy Tools, like let's go to 2023 Las Vegas. So as you can see here, here's the average, right? Okay, I might need to do this. Sorry, it's going to be super small. So you can see the average scores on the bottom here, right? Super small. Damn, my bad. And here is the final 17.1. So if we just highlight this down here, and then I can expand it. Here we go, guys. Sorry. 17.1. That's the highest average score on the grid. And that is in Las Vegas. So that means that a lot of the B tier drivers are scoring a bunch of points. So like you've got Ocon here, you've got Stroll here. Piastri was a B tier driver in 2023. Sonoda scored okay here. Zhou Guanyu scored okay here. Fernando Alonso scored okay here. You go to 2024 and we do that exercise again where here's Vegas 13.2. So if you highlight all of these, it's like the highest scoring race again outside of, what is this, 16, random 16 here, outside of Coda, where that was a sprint race. So, and then Vegas again, if you go check it out, we've got, it was dominated by the A tier drivers here, but like Hulkenberg's got 17, Alonso's got 11, Colapinto's got 10, Sonoda's got 9. So B tier drivers scoring a lot of points is never really good for Limitless because it'll probably mean that you might not make as big of a delta, but that's kind of where you're at. Ocon or Sainz, it's really a coin flip. I have Sainz right now, but I'm also looking to bring Ocon into my team, K Hagen 78. So I don't think you can go wrong with either, but I guess I'd lean Sainz just for the better. Well, I guess Ocon has a chance at the price rise, but I think Sainz has shown us more of a ceiling, so I would probably roll with Sainz. Hi, Ewan. Oh my goodness, all the meows. Yes, so many meows. Show us the cats. I love cats. I think I just showed you one of them. So, and they are going a little crazy. We'll see how well this goes. Worth a risk to go 2x on George over Lando. 3 races to go. If that's what you're feeling, I would go with it. But I prefer to use the autopilot chip as a get-out-free card. Austin French says, I'm in a pickle and desperately trying to stay in top 600, so going for points only, basically. I have Norris, Piastri, Colapinto, Gasly, Alonso with McLaren, Mercedes, 135 and 2 transfers only. How do I make the best transfers? Probably would bring in Russell for Piastri there and then upgrade Alonso to like a Hadjar. Considering a Russell 2X, Ham, Antonelli, McLaren, Mercedes line, is it too crazy? It feels crazy to not have Norris or Verstappen as my 2X. Don't have autopilot left, unfortunately. Yes. That is a little too crazy for me because I think those are probably Norris and Verstappen. You're going to want to have those over the final 2 races more than likely. So not having either of them and maybe like backing yourself into a corner where it's going to take 2 or 3 transfers to get back to one of them for Qatar and Abu Dhabi is a little too much for me. 2 a.m. here in Portugal, says Jake. Yes, us Europeans are in the mud right now. Austin French says, also have autopilot, but should I hold off on using it until last sprint race of the year? With Norris and Russell, it might be a good weekend to go with the autopilot chip for sure. Antara says, let your cats predict the winner. Yes, that would just be loud noises. So who's the loudest on the grid? I don't know, just Hadjar maybe? With keeping Verstappen / Russell, use autopilot and B tier what to do with Sainz, Gasly, Alonso. Drop Alonso for Colapinto to protect budget or Colapinto DNF risk. I really think that's up to y'all because if you need the budget, then I would protect budget with Colapinto. Alonso's probably crafty enough that he can score a couple of points here, but yeah, I don't know. I maybe wouldn't go too hard on all those transfers. And B tier, I think I would go with Sainz. I'd rank them Sainz, Gasly, Alonso for me. Thoughts on dropping McLaren to Racing Bulls and run with Max, Charles, and Kimi? Then I would hope that you have the autopilot chip because that's a bold strategy card, and let's see if it plays off. What's this little crown with number 3 beside my name? I think it's most comments, Glenn. Limitless 3X and Final Fix still used. What would you recommend? Norris / Verstappen plus Russell. So Final Fix is really just like situation dependent, so you won't actually be able to know if you want to play Final Fix until after the deadline. But 3X, let me know. I don't know what happened there. Oh, we're back. Okay. Let me see here. Oh, this is like on a super long delay on YouTube, so that's why. Okay, wait, now it's only number 1. Yes, Glenn. Alexander says, hey, Ewan, hope you're doing well. For my B-tier drivers, would you consider double Haas plus Colapinto or Behrman, Hadjar, Gasly? I think I like that last option better, Alexander. Thank you for the question. Dankov5664 says, hi, I have 2 free transfers. Thinking about switching from Norris and Bortoleto to Verstappen and Behrman. Would it be worth the -10 Alonso to Hadjar or Ocon or go full Mercedes? 1 second, sorry. I'm overheating a little bit back here. So the -10 for Alonso to Hadjar could be worth it if you consider points and budget. So that's okay. Going full Mercedes, like there's a world here where I could go with like a -20 and bring in Red Bull along with Max, Antonelli, and Colapinto. But I just haven't seen enough evidence that those 2 teams are going to be strong enough. And it's not their fault because it's just been the conditions and like the red flag that we had and stuff like that. So that would be a negative 20 to like fully attack this weekend, but I just don't think that there's been enough evidence for us to go with this. And I'm highly, it feels like it's probably going to happen where this time tomorrow, well, there is a race review stream tomorrow, so hopefully you guys tune in for that as we are 90 minutes to go on the deadline stream. I'm just going to be holding my head in my hands and be like, that team scored 150 more points. I should have taken the negative 20. The only problem with a team like this is I am like totally screwed for Qatar if I go down this route. Like, there's not really anywhere that I can get to that would be outside like a negative 20 again to get back to like a Lando Russell build. So that's the only downside there. I think if I had my wild card in the back pocket or something like that, then I would kind of punt into something like this. But as much as this looks nice, it's double Alpine, which feels like it hasn't bitten us in a long time. And I'm just wondering if one of those weekends is going to pop up here. So I would be cautious about something like that. But this is a negative 20 for me. And I wish if we had had more like representative running, then I would maybe steam into this and just like, it would be future Ewan's problem to figure out how to get back to McLaren. Downgrade Russell to Antonelli to get rid of Alonso and Colapinto for the Haas drivers. Budget increase. Top 1K global rank. Yeah, probably. I don't think there's going to be a big enough gap between Russell and Antonelli that you need to take those hits with Alonso and Colapinto. So yeah, Ocon and Behrman plus Antonelli over Russell, Alonso, and Colapinto. I think that's a good move. Mazloum Kaya. So thank you for your question. And yeah, I think those are good moves. The Flame is in the chat. What is up? Hey, Ewan, Norris, Antonelli, Behrman, Sainz, Bortolotto, McLaren, Mercedes did well for me, but I'm trying to get out of Bortolotto instead of Qatar. Do you think it's safe to swap to Gasly and hold the rest? Yes, I believe it is safe to do that and hold the rest. Yeah, I like Gasly or maybe Ocon. Can you get to Ocon? That's not a bad move either. Airstrike says, have 7.5 million to replace Gabby. Which one should I get? You should get probably Esteban Ocon. Yeah, I'd go Esteban Ocon, to be honest. Oh, wait. No, I think I'd go Sainz. What happened in F3? Are we dropping McLaren? They had some issues. If anyone sees anything on X or anything like that, like, let me know so that we can all be in the same boat together. But we'll see how it goes. Okay. People are asking me questions on X. The midfield drivers are going to be tough to pick, to be honest. Max looking like me. I haven't. Okay. Hello from East Coast of Canada, 10:15 p.m. here. That means I'm 17 minutes behind the stream, so I got to pick up the pace. Thoughts on this team? Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Gasly, plus McLaren, Mercedes, and either Ocon or Hadjar. I would go Ocon. Hadjar is really a coin flip, but I'd probably go Ocon for the budget, but I have been underestimating Racing Bulls, but I like that team, Verstappen, Antonelli. Rob says hi, says Molly Jane. Yes, I was in Rob's stream earlier, so thanks to Rob. But yes, hi, Rob. Let's see here. Audio cutting in and out. Is that better now? Let me know. Sorry, guys. Appreciate that. Okay, here we go. Drop that like, you bums, says Radio Pet. Well, I didn't mean to call you guys bums, but yes, hopefully you guys are liking the stream and subscribing to the YouTube channel. We are 31 subscribers away from 4,000. It'd be pretty crazy if we broke 4,000 subs on this stream. So there's 163 of y'all watching right now. So yeah, hopefully the likes are going up. Hopefully everything is going well. Thank you, Radio Paddock, for the encouragement. Hi, Ewan. Hope all is well. Thinking Bortolotto to Hadjar and Alonso to Gasly. Is it worth the negative 10 to go Norris to Verstappen? Probably not. Thoughts on what Yuki's performance will be? I mean, based on the majority of the season, it will probably be bad, and we'll all be kicking ourselves if we believe in it at all. But I think Max has enough Red Bull coverage if you want to go there. So, and Craig says, blanket play, Mercedes, Ferrari, gulp, Verstappen 2x, Russell, Behrman, Sainz, Hadjar in a hole from last week. Thought about saving the transfer, but instead I'm going to risk Hadjar in for Gasly as baby bulls look okay. Okay then, Craig. Yeah, full send. Go with your gut. Like whatever you're saying. Let's see. Hi, Ewan says King's Landing. I have Norris, Russell, Behrman, Alonso, Borletto, McLaren, Mercedes. I can use wildcard, get to Norris, Verstappen, Alonso, Gasly, Colapinto, plans to 3x in Qatar, or switch Borletto with Gasly and carry 3 free transfers. I have wildcard and 3x chips left. Yeah, I think I just kind of like that Borletto to Gasly move, King's Landing. And then you have 3 free transfers to get to a 3x squad in Qatar. And then you have the wild card to pick the best of the rest for Abu Dhabi. That could be like a really big differential for you. So I kind of like that strategy. Maybe carry the transfer into Qatar, use the 3x chip, bingo bango, and then you've got the wild card in your back pocket. Are we worried about Colapinto DNF over Alonso? I don't know necessarily. I don't expect Alonso to DNF, but I don't think Aston Martin's going to do well here. Alpine might not do well here either, but if you are really scraping for budget to get to a strong team for Qatar, then Colapinto can't lose you budget, and that's maybe the difference maker in the coin flip there, Austin. Norris or Verstappen? I think I'm going to say Verstappen for now with an hour and 24 minutes ago. Glenn says, interested to hear how much weight you put on the F1 Fantasy Tool sims. In my honest opinion, a lot of people rely on them too much instead of just using them for team suggestions, ideas. What says you, Glenn? I like the sims, but I don't really look at them until like after FP3, like between the deadline stream, because I kind of like to, like, I mean, there are some times where it's like it comes out super early and I'm like, oh, let me go check this out. But I usually like to form my team ideas before stuff like that comes out, because it's more of like a confirmation bias that like what I'm seeing on the track and what I'm listening to in the interviews and stuff is all making sense. And then it all comes together. And if the top lineup is the lineup I was thinking, then like happy days. But sometimes it also just makes me like take a step back and be like, am I missing something? So I think it's a great tool, but like, yeah, I wouldn't use it too much. Let me log in actually. Let's go see what the top team would be, because right now I'm just thinking that it's like Norris to Verstappen and Borletto to Ocon, or maybe just or Borletto to Behrman, but it might just be Borletto to Ocon straight up. So I'll be interested to see what the sims say for my T1 squad here. So like this, Piastri Hadjar, I'm nowhere close to that. But I don't believe that Piastri is going to be the second best here. There is a scenario where we're supposed to be getting FP3 sims, but I don't know. But I don't actually know how much data we're going to get from FP3 either, Glenn. So I like to use it as a tool, but it's not the end all be all to me. I'm definitely more of like a kind of see what I see on the track. I lagged, didn't hear the answer. Sorry. I think I'm just maybe talking a little bit quieter, and also it's just like 3 a.m. I don't know. Maybe there are some ghosts in the machine, so I'll try to keep chit-chatting, and hopefully it fixes it. So let's see here. What else have we got? Should I swap out Antonelli for Russell and Lando for Verstappen? Thoughts on McLaren this week? I don't love McLaren this week, but I'll probably love them in Qatar and Abu Dhabi, so that's kind of got me on the fence there. Plus, they're always good for like, they could get some fastest pit stop points, so that's not bad either. But just in the same situation that I was in last year, where I'm like, McLaren don't look good, but what am I gonna do? Not have them for Qatar? Man. I wish I wish there was someone else that had like stuck their hand up. That's the only problem, is that I agree that getting off McLaren is not the worst idea in the world, but it's just like, who are you going to replace them with? And then you're probably going to want them for Qatar. F1 Academy crash at the race, says Sammy, or even taking a -10 for Norris, Verstappen, signs Alonso, Hadjar, Red Bull Racing, Mercedes. That's bold. But I don't hate it. That's how you attack this weekend. Are penalty points worth more, or are penalty points worth for more transfers? It depends who you're bringing in. If it's to facilitate like a big move in tier A, then sure. But generally, I don't think hits are worth it kind of going between the tier B drivers. So, but I mean, it works out that way. Like I mean, in Brazil, I was like, what are you doing? I didn't want to take a -10 to do Gabby Bortoleto to Ollie Behrman, and that totally bit me in the booty. I think that was about a 50-point swing. So I would have loved to get that back. Autopilot this race or Qatar? Probably this race, I would say. I have triple McLaren, Sainz, Alonso, Bortoleto, Mercedes. Any advice? Probably would get Piastri down to Russell at least. Ocon, Hadjar, Sainz, Gasly. Pick 2. Sainz and Ocon for me. Here from Rob's channel, I have Verstappen, Sainz, Bortoleto, and Colapinto. 0 in budget and 3 transfers. What do you recommend? Says URL Bazals. Happy to have you here. Thank you for Rob to send you guys over to me. I would say you have 3 free transfers, and what do you want to do? Bortoleto to Ocon is an easy transfer, and because that's right there. But if you want to, I guess you'd want to get some, if you want to save 0.8. So if you want to get out of Bortoleto and Colapinto, you could do Gabby Bortz down to Isaac Hadjar, and that should give you enough to go from Colapinto to Pierre Gasly, which is not bad moves at all. Carlos says, greetings from Rob. Do you agree Ocon over Hadjar to get rid of Bortoleto? Let's see here. Yeah, I think I prefer Ocon. His experience, the Haas updates, I've been underestimating the Racing Bulls a little bit since Coda, but my gut is telling me that it's Ocon, so that's why I go. Alexander says, sorry, man, audio cut out just as you answered my question. I'm sorry about the audio, guys. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it fixes itself over the next hour or so. So about double Haas plus Colapinto for beer tier. I like the second one. The second one. Behrman, Hadjar, Gasly. So I'd prefer those. Stay on Max or switch to Lando. I would stay on Max. If you have autopilot, then I'd use it. This race is probably the most volatile. Will you autopilot here or at the last race? I just blew my autopilot in Brazil, so I'm not a very happy chappy with how that went. 136.5 cap, have wildcard for this weekend. 3x Qatar and autopilot Abu Dhabi. Recommended team? I mean, this team that I have on the screen right now is 136.2 million. So you could go there, but I would probably bring in Ocon instead. But maybe Max as well. So maybe Max, Russell, then Ocon with Sainz, Gasly, that kind of thing. Should I stay with Lando, Antonelli, Hadjar, Sainz, and Hülkenberg? No extra cost cap. I don't love Hülkenberg. So if you went Lando down to Verstappen, you could go Hülkenberg up to Ocon, and that would be kind of nice. Let's see here. Should I drop Lando and McLaren? I would drop Lando to Verstappen. I'm still not sure about McLaren. I have Norris, Russell, Behrman, Alonso, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes. I can use wildcard to get to Norris, or switch Bortoleto with Gasly. I think I answered that question, King's Landing, but I would do just Bortoleto to Gasly this week, carry the 3 free transfers for Qatar, and then use the wildcard in Abu Dhabi. Favorite duo within most budgets for autopilot here? Verstappen, Russell. I would say the 2 previous winners here. McLaren to Red Bull. Tough, but maybe. Like, yes, but you just have to have a plan to get them back for Qatar. I could make it to Ocon with my team. I'm sitting on 3 free transfers and 2 million extra budget with Norris, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Behrman, Sainz, McLaren, Mercedes, but I can't quite make the move up from Antonelli given my budget. I could make it to Ocon with my team. I'm sitting on 3 free transfers. Norris, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Behrman, Sainz, but I can't make the move up from Antonelli given my budget. That's fine. I think if you just go Bortoleto to Ocon, then you've got a solid team there. Matty McMizzle says, Norris to Verstappen, Colapinto to Hadjar, Kimi, Gasly, Alonso, McLaren, Mercedes. Locked in. Let's go. Let's go, Matty McGizzle. That's a strong team, and I like it. Hi, you. And I have triple McLaren, Sainz, Alonso, Bortoleto, Mercedes. Do I just drop Bortoleto and roll a transfer into Qatar, or drop Piastri too? Whew, that is tough. I do back Russell to score more than Piastri. Like, I don't mind holding Norris for those managers that have Norris just because he has the upside of like a podium. I just don't think Piastri has podium upside in Vegas right now, which is like kind of wild to say considering where we were in F1 Fantasy 5 races ago. But I think I would just drop Bortoleto. Since you're at least part Scottish, do you have a favorite whiskey? If you say Jack Daniels, I'm unsubscribing. I'm actually not a huge whiskey drinker, Glenn, but what did I have? I was in Isle of Skye and I had the Talisker. Is that right? Talisker whiskey, and that was pretty good. I had a couple of drinks of that, and that was pretty good. Chris says, your mate Rob says, hi, 1:04 p.m. Saturday afternoon. Can't wait to make my 2 transfers. What transfers are you going to make, Chris? Let me know in the chat. My thought on Gasly was to hopefully clear up budget for Qatar transfers, but I don't know. So my hope for Qatar is that if I do Norris and Bortoleto out for Verstappen and Behrman, right, and we go to the budget builder, that gives me the A tier and the B tier driver that are most likely to rise. And then when I get to Qatar, Pierre Gasly should, in theory, be 5.9 million, right? So Russell, I've got 2 million in the bank, I've got 0.8 million in the bank. Russell is likely to go up 0.1. Piastri could go down 0.3. If Gasly goes up and Sainz goes up instead, I believe, I can go Sainz down to Colapinto, which is 1 transfer. And then I should have enough money because Max should go up. I don't know if Lando is going to go up the full amount. And I should have enough money left over. Let me see here. If I go Piastri, I'll be 0.4 million short. But if I set my team up like this, I should be able to make up that 0.4 and bring in a triple McLaren team for Qatar with just a 10-point hit, which is kind of good if you ask me. But if Piastri doesn't look on it, then we'll just have to adjust. But for right now, I think that's why I'm kind of thinking about adjusting that way as well, especially because Behrman is guaranteed a 0.6 price rise, right? He needs negative 41 for the price rise or whatever it is. Let's just double check so I'm not giving you guys bad info. Negative 34. So unless he can't not rise, if you know what I mean. So that is where at least I'll have myself set up for Qatar, even if he DNFs. The problem is, like, if I went with Ocon and he DNFs, like, that's going to be a 0.6 hit. So that's like the only problem with that strategy there, to just roll a transfer. So it's really tough this week, guys. Really, really, really tough. But I really appreciate everyone being here. If you're new, if you're from Rob's chat, drop a question in the chat, but you got to subscribe for about 2 seconds and then you can pop in the chat and then leave. But, you know, I wouldn't. We're 23 subscribers away from 4,000, guys. So you want to be part of that first 4,000, because you know what they say, the first 4,000 subs, they stay right here. You never forget your first 4,000. So I appreciate everyone giving a subscription. Just joined, is McLaren a definite switch? Maybe Lando is and Piastri is, but I don't know about the constructor. Goodness gracious. Molly Wise says, Norris, Verstappen, Sainz, Hadjar, Gasly, Red Bull, and Mercedes with autopilot, or Norris, Russell, Sainz, Hadjar, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes with autopilot? That's a nice little budget you've got going on there. If you're going to use autopilot, I'd love to use it on the top 2 drivers. And I think that's going to be Norris, Verstappen over Norris, Russell. Honestly, Verstappen, Russell would be a better autopilot chip, but that's where, between those 2 options, I would go with that one, Molly. the Norris Verstappen one. Deciding between Mercedes, Red Bull, Norris, Verstappen, Gasly, Sainz, Alonso, or Ferrari, Mercedes. You lost me at Ferrari. So yeah, I can't trust Ferrari. So the other non-Ferrari option for sure. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. I just scroll up and I just see how far behind I am on the chat, and then my anxiety goes through the roof. But thoughts on Russell, Antonelli, Sainz, Bergman, Gasly, Mercedes, McLaren. That's all in, but I like it. I have the same team as you, but was thinking of dropping Bortoleto to Ocon, keeping 3 transfers and 3 DRS for Qatar. That's like another option that I have, 29.97 DF. That's like, there's a 1A and a 1B. I'm bringing in a Haas driver. It just depends which one I'm going to bring in. So unfortunately, to bring in Behrman and guarantee that price rise, I have to drop Norris down to Verstappen. Keep Lando or go for Max. Only real question I've got. I think I am leaning Max. New engine, has won around here, has shown success around here. If it's damp at all, you've got to back Max Verstappen as the best driver on the grid. So that's what I would be going with. TCV Ready says, I have Verstappen, Russell, Alonso, Sainz, Gasly, Mercedes, McLaren. Should I switch to Kimi and Behrman in place of Russell and Alonso? Yes, I think I like that switch. What do y'all think? Let's make a poll for this. That's a pretty good question. So all right, here we go. Better pairing. I just realized I haven't done any polls here, guys. So, Ant plus Behrman or Russ plus Alonso. Let's help TCV Ready out in the chat. And also ourselves, because we can also help ourselves there. Alrighty. Let's see. Glenn Grant says, I remember the days when you had hundreds of subscribers. That was January. You guys have been blowing up the channel, and it's been insane. I think I started the year with like 500 subscribers. So I really, really appreciate you guys joining me for this wild 2025. And it's on to bigger and better things. But thank you, Glenn, for being there from one of the OG days. All right, let's see. Whew. Let's see here. Okay, what chip should I use this weekend? I have Autopilot, No Negative, and Final Fix. It's not a bad weekend for No Negative. It is a street track. There's lots of runoffs, but like crazier things have happened. So the only thing about Final Fix is it's so situational. It could be a good weekend for McLaren Final Fix just because they could go out, and who knows if they do like a pit lane start or something crazy. But like the Final Fix is kind of just a hope strategy, and I don't really believe in hope as a strategy. So it kind of goes against everything I feel in F1 Fantasy. But Autopilot could be good in the final race of the season if you're going to take a punt on some like random stuff. No Negative this weekend, and then just hope there's a Final Fix opportunity in Qatar. But yeah, it's kind of tough. All 3 chips with 3 chips to go. That's not bad. Thoughts on Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Hadjar, Ocon, Mercedes, McLaren, Ole. That's a really good lineup. I really like that car tick. Hi, you, and I have triple McLaren, Sainz, Alonso, Bortoleto, Mercedes. Do I just drop Bortoleto and roll a transfer to Qatar, or drop Piastri too? I would be thinking about dropping Piastri down to Russell. Sitting with McLaren, Mercedes. If not McLaren, who? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I kind of want to drop McLaren, but I don't know who I would be going to, because I don't really trust Ferrari. I don't really trust Red Bull with Yuki. So do I just keep McLaren and live to fight another day in Qatar? That's what I'm thinking right now, Max. Are you keeping McLaren constructor? As of right now, yes. Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob asked to say hi. Hi, Rob. I hope you're having a great time. We're in for a wild final hour. Great stream, my friend, says Adam from FanUp Fantasy HQ. Adam, have a great stream. You're about to be on in about 7 minutes, I believe, when I'm getting to this question. So have a great stream on the FanUp account. Y'all can dual screen it right there. Just me and Adam with Zach and Terry. Although I'm not sure if Terry's up. It's like the middle of the night in the UK. I know Zach's up because he's a crazy like me, but Adam's there on the east coast of the state, so better time for him. Best constructor this week, probably Mercedes. What happens if I FF my 2X driver? Then that driver that you bring in will get the 2X chip. Ryder said Sims are coming. The Sims are coming. Uh, you're welcome, Ryu. What should I do with a Norris, Antonelli, Bordello, Alonso, Sainz, McLaren, Mercedes with 3 free transfers? 132.4 million. Thanks. Norris to Verstappen. Oh, that is tough because I kind of want to like blow all 3 transfers on that team and get Bortoletto and Alonso out. But maybe you just go. So Bortoletto. Let's see here. If you go Bortoletto to. You could go Bortoletto to Hadjar and you can go Alonso to Gasly. Murat says, is it worth to get -10 for getting out of Bortoletto because of budget loss or hold Bortoletto? I don't really believe in Bortoletto this weekend. I haven't really enjoyed what I've been seeing from them. Also, that livery just gives me the ick. So I'd probably get out of it for -10. Alonso versus Colapinto have Max and Russell. Who to 2x? I would 2x Max just because it's Max Verstappen. But Alonso versus Colapinto, it's probably Alonso for points, Colapinto for budget, if that is a concern for you at this point in the season. When is it better to use wildcard? If you don't have the 3x chip, I would use it in Qatar and then just kind of take a punt this week in F1 Fantasy with like the Mercedes guys. But other than that, you could just save it for Abu Dhabi and just have the best team from the for the final race because we're going to get 3 FP sessions there. Better pairing. Antonelli plus Behrman is at 67%. Russell plus Alonso is at 33%. As my cat jumps in my lap. Hi, Alfie. I was this close. So we got 2 new cats last weekend. I already got 1 cat. Name is Oscar. I was this close to getting my wife to name them Max and Lando. But then she was like, Lando is a weird name. She was in on Max, but not Lando. So I was this close. And then when I told her they were F1 drivers, she was like, no, we're not doing that. But I thought it would have been kind of cute. So let me know in the chat if you thought Max, Lando, and Oscar would have been a cute name. Do you prefer Lando plus Antonelli or Russell plus Antonelli if you want to avoid Verstappen? For this race, probably Russell Antonelli, but long-term Lando Antonelli. Oh my God, I had Talisker for the first time in London a couple of weeks ago. I love how smoky it is. Yeah, it's pretty good. What's the best team for 129.3 million? Probably this team with like Hadjar and Antonelli instead. I have Lando, Kimi, Behrman. Should I switch to Lando, Russell, and the cheapest assets? Only way I can afford Russell. No, I think Kimi and Russell are well within like the points gap that Behrman over those cheaper assets, given his price rise, is going to be fine. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. No joking, Talisker is my favorite, says Glenn. FP3 Sims out. Sims out. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. FP3 is out. All right, let's go check it out. Sims are out. Let's see here. All right, let's go check out the Sims, shall we? Team calculator. I guess I have to refresh the page. Here we go. Post FP3. Ooh, Verstappen is now top. Norris is second. Russell is third. Ooh, Antonelli's dropped down a little bit there. Hadjar, Behrman, Albon, Gasly, Ocon, Lawson. So this is what I was talking about earlier, where my 2 options are, the 2 options I've been thinking about are Norris and Bortoletto out for Verstappen and Behrman, or just roll a transfer into Qatar and only do Bortoletto to Ocon. And this is what we talked about earlier, Glenn, where like I kind of like to have my decision making like almost pre-planned, and then we'll see what the Sims say. So now when I click T1, it's going to show me what it thinks my team should be. And it's telling me Verstappen Hadjar, 226.1 plus 2.09. But that second option right there, 224.9, Verstappen, Behrman, feels pretty easy. Feels pretty good. Plus 2.5 million in budget as well. So there's that. Doesn't even have Norris. Norris is here. So Hadjar plus Ocon, 228.8. All these Sims are so close, but yeah. Max transfer penalty I'm willing to take this week is that I'm wondering if I'm having audio issues this week because my new cats have been munching on all these cords. Yay. So let's see. Expected points, minimum. I'm going to say 200 at least. And then let's see if there's like a. So yeah, that's just price rise. But so you know what? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, use it as a tool, but don't like let it make all your decisions for you. But as considering one of my two plans there was the second option, that's probably where I'm gonna be leaning, if that makes sense here. All right, let me fix this timer here real quick, guys, because this bugs me when we do this. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. We are under 1 hour until the deadline, but I'm starting to feel like I'm saying, like what I was saying earlier, Glenn, like now that is there, it feels like a nice little bit of like confirmation bias where I'm like, oh, cool. What I was thinking about was the correct thing. Okay, let me get back to this. I think my dreams of 3x McLaren is gone. I would have to make up too much budget. That's maybe not bad. It might be a blessing in disguise when it comes to Qatar Benads. And just so y'all know, do I have it on here? I don't actually know if I have it on here, but Benads is one of the Patreon members. And if you guys want to sign up for the F1 Fantasy Pole Position Patreon to extra support me, that would be much appreciated as we head into the final 3 races of the F1 Fantasy season. Going to be more stuff coming up. I got so the Qatar Grand Prix team selection. If you're a member, you will get that a little bit early, about 12 hours early. And then there's power rankings. And then I'm hoping that we get enough people in the Discord for 2026 that we'll be doing some prize leagues for the 2026 season. I'm going to skip the whiskey chat, gentlemen, so I can focus on these questions, but great job by y'all. I have a 12.9 million for one more driver. I'm thinking Sainz or Behrman or Ocon or Yuki. I would probably rank them Behrman, Ocon, Sainz, Yuki for me. Oh, that's a whiskey chat. I have autopilot, extra DRS, and wildcard left. Should I use, if any, on this race or save for final 2? So you can only use 1 chip per weekend, Gabrielle. So you have to use a chip this weekend. So depending on your team, I'd probably use autopilot this weekend, extra DRS in Qatar, and wildcard in Abu Dhabi. But I also need points, so Ocon looks good as well. It's a tough balance. Where are you from? I'm watching from Puerto Rico. Complicated story there, Ryu, but born in Scotland. So yes, we're going back to the World Cup for the first time since '98. No Scotland, no party. And then I moved to the States when I was about 12. Went to school, all that stuff, got married, and then I was in the sports TV industry. And then the network I worked for got shut down. And then my wife was like, should I look at getting other opportunities somewhere else? And I was like, yeah, like we lived in Denver, thinking she meant like Chicago or Boston. And then she told me one day that she got a job in Germany, and now I'm in Germany. So that's how that all goes down. Missed FP3. Why was McLaren 3 seconds slower? Because they didn't go out when the track was good. Let's see here. Oh, Rebecca Steller's in the chat. What is up, Rebecca? Another member of the F1 Fantasy Pole Position Patreon/YouTube membership program. I can do Verstappen and Behrman for Norris and Bortoletto. Worth a -10 for Alonso to Hadjar. I can do for probably to save the 0.4 in budget and just the upside of Hadjar. I would do that, Rebecca. Okay, I'm going back up to the top. All right. Is Norris/Alonso to Verstappen Ocon worth it? Yes, I really like that move, Ranger Danger 994. Have I skipped any question? No, I've only skipped the whiskey chat. Heavier rain developing 7 kilometers from the track. This could reach the circuit in 10 minutes, Rodolfo. Okay. Is anyone using Ferrari this race? They did look good in practice. Ewan's from Aberdeen. Don't let him tell you otherwise. Come on, the Dons. Gabrielle, I'm not going to use Ferrari because I like to keep my emotional mental health for the entire weekend. I mean, I'm already up at 1:30 on a Saturday morning watching FP3 of an F1 Grand Prix weekend. So my physical health is already in the toilet, but my mental health from having Ferrari in my F1 fantasy team, Like, there's not a toilet bowl big enough for my physical and my mental health to fit in there if I go with Ferrari and they tank this weekend. That is, like, it's going to be overflowing with sickness. Which remaining race is the best option to use the no negative chip? This is the only street circuit left, and Qatar and Abu Dhabi has plenty of runoff. This street circuit also has plenty of runoff as well. So, but maybe just this one. If it's going to be damp, rookie, street circuit, I'd maybe go with that one, Gladwell. Help, says Rebecca. Yeah, it's been a great ride this year, Ewan. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. I'm 13-18 overall rank after a bad few weeks, so I need to go for it. My team is McLaren, Mercedes, Verstappen, Russell, Bortoleto, Sainz, Gasly. I could go Bortoleto and Russell to Albon and Kimi. It's bold, but is it worth it? I like it, Nigel. That is bold, but I don't think the drop-off from Russell to Kimi is that great, but the upgrade from Bortoleto to Albon is really good. So, yeah, I really like that. Norris out, Max in, Alonso out, Ocon is what I'm thinking at present. Nice. I like that a lot, Chris. Those are solid moves. Julia says, is currently raining in Vegas at F1 Academy. Okay. FP3s are here. Good morning. W thanks you, and you're welcome, Sammy. Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Ocon, or Hadjar/Gasly plus McLaren, or Russell, Antonelli, Sainz, Behrman, Gasly plus McLaren and Mercedes. I like the Verstappen Antonelli combo. Let me see. It's been a minute. Work and home repairs have kept me out, but I'm back. Need someone to check my work because I'm about to pass out. Ella, how do we feel about Verstappen, Russell, Alonso, Hadjar, Sainz, McLaren, Mercedes? 136.3. Any edits? No, I think you're solid there. RM Cookie. Thanks for coming back there. Hello there, says Mr. Best. Hello there, Mr. Best. With Norris Antonelli, is it even worth using autopilot or save for the last race? Yeah, I mean, I blew mine in Brazil. I guess in hindsight, that wasn't the best thing to do. But you could save it for the last race. Not a bad shout. Verstappen, Sainz, Ocon, Gasly, Alonso with McLaren, Mercedes. Any thoughts? I would like to get out of the Fernando Alonso business if possible. But if you can't, then that is A-okay with me. That's a pretty good lineup. If you join the membership or Patreon, come chat with us in Discord. Of course, yes. Having a grand old time there. I have Wildcard, Final Fix, and 3X chips left. Which would you use for which race? I guess I'd use Final Fix this race, then 3X chip in Qatar, and Wildcard in Abu Dhabi. And just so you guys know, with 52 minutes left, those... Which way is this? This way. Those sims up in the top right corner are now out of date because those are the post FP2 expected points. FP3 has been updated as of 10 minutes ago. Let's see here. Crazy story. Ending in Germany sounds crazy. It has been a wild ride. Life is madness. Norris, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Sainz, Gasly, McLaren, Russell, 5.9 in the bank, 3X next week. Leaning maybe Ant Tsunoda for Max and Colapinto. I don't know about that one. Oh, to get Max. Okay, sorry. Sure, Zachary. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how good Norris is going to be around here. And it's just like so unrepresentative these times. Like McLaren really just did us no favors at all. But I think they should survive. But getting Max in is a good bet. Antonelli, Tsunoda are decent in the rain too. I definitely back Antonelli in the rain. He's been pretty good. Pretty impressive for a rookie. McLaren to Ferrari, how insane is that? Very insane, Zachary. Very insane. For 3X, could get to McLaren, Ferrari, Norris, Piastri, McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Verstappen the weekend after with no extra transfers. Currently have Norris, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Sainz, Gasly. I would prefer going down the McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Verstappen route. I really don't know about Ferrari at all. They could do well, but is it worth the risk? I don't know. I went with Ferrari and Zandvoort and suffered a double DNF, and it was brutal. Took me a couple of days to get over. I'm not gonna lie. Traveled Bone says, also sorry to all Europeans, but us on the west coast of Canada can finally watch F1 at a reasonable time. I am happy for you, Traveled Bones. I am very happy. Norris / Alonso to Verstappen Ocon. Yes, Ranger Danger. That's what I'm thinking. Rebecca Stellar. Hope you're doing well, Rebecca. Is qual / race dry? I believe the race is supposed to be dry. It's 49% chance of rain right now per AccuWeather, but we can go back here. Let's see here. It's now up to 71% chance. So that definitely makes me want to have Max Verstappen in my squad. Might just move Alonso, Behrman to Sainz, Hadjar, and call it a day. I like that, Mr. Best. Those are solid moves. 126.7 budget and on the wildcard, any Rex, thinking Max and Antonelli, McLaren, Mercedes. That is a very, very strong spine of your wildcard squad. Go for it. I know the pain in one of my friends' leagues. I drive Ferrari and have had them all year long. Ouch. Verstappen, Russell, Sainz, Gasly, Behrman, McLaren, Mercedes locked in. Let's go, Glenn. I think I'm going to end up on that exact same team. I'm going for a strategy that will leave me 1 million for a final fix from Verstappen to Norris if he gets pulled, but it's a really hard weekend. It is a very hard weekend, yes. Yeah, but it's a good strategy. I like having that money in the bank. Still have autopilot and no negative left. Which do you think for this weekend? I was thinking of autopilot, but the rain got me thinking no negative. I'm thinking the same as you, Samantha. I think that's not a bad shout at all. 24 Leith says, I've got Verstappen, Norris, Hadjar, Colapinto, Bortolotto, McLaren, V-Carb. Do I move off Verstappen to go Antonelli and move V-Carb to Mercedes? Oh my days. Almost would prefer moving off of Norris to go... I would go Norris to Antonelli and then maybe V-Carb to Mercedes that way, 24 Leith. Hopefully that helps. Hello, Ewan. I saw Norris was 4 tenths faster, but he went into the pits fairly comfortably holding. Wondering if McLaren can be dropped for Red Bull, though, if Max gets P1/P2 and Yuki grabs 5 to 9 overtakes. That's a great question, M.97. And it has me thinking, has Tsunoda even done that this season? Jeez Louise. Let's check it out. I'm not going to class. Let's see. Let's go race overtakes for the whole season. Tsunoda has done that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in 21 races at Red Bull. How do you do her? So I guess you got like a 25% chance. I mean, it is a high overtake track, so that will help as well. But putting your faith in Yuki Tsunoda, it's almost similar to Ferrari in my F1 fantasy brain right now. So I don't think I'd go there. And then you're probably just gonna get McLaren back in for the for Qatar. So that's a little bit of a problem as well. Gasly or Sainz for points? I'd go Sainz, Nuno. Let's see here. Scrolling back up, Red Bull versus Mercedes for this week, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. I think Qatar will be dominated by Red Bull. And Alonso versus Gasly. Thoughts about Racing Bull, Liam, and Hadjar for the last 3 races? I've been underestimating Racing Bulls, so I would back them. They are not really in like my paths for the final part of the season, at least for today's race. Maybe I can get to them in Qatar or Abu Dhabi. Red Bull versus Mercedes. I'd go Mercedes just because Russell and Antonelli are driving far more consistently than a Verstappen-Tsunoda pairing. Does that make sense? So Verstappen has like the higher ceiling, but Russell and Antonelli like could easily end up on the podium with Verstappen this weekend, and I wouldn't be shocked at all. But I don't see Yuki getting there at all. I'd go Norris to Antonelli and definitely V-Carb to Mercedes. Glenn, that's what I'm saying. Rolling through transfers, only thought is Ocon versus Sainz. I think they could be similar in points, but it is Ocon's on for an easier price rise. McLaren, Mercedes, and Norris, Piastri with Alonso, Bortolotto, Gasly got burned with Piastri last week. 137.2 in budget. Y'all are crazy. You're gonna come over here. This one's Alfie. Say hi, Alfie. Okay, never mind. Was purring, not purring anymore. I would get Piastri out for Russell and then upgrade Alonso to a Haas driver probably. Or no, upgrade Bortolotto to Behrman possibly. I think I might end up going 3x Qatar and autopilot Abu Dhabi then, since I would have to change too much to get into a 4A lineup this weekend. Yeah, I like that strategy, the flame. Solid. Heck of a season. Due to budget constraints, it's either Piastri or Russell with Behrman, Sainz, Ocon, Hadjar, McLaren, Mercedes. Thoughts? I would go Russell. I think I'm going to go Norris, Bortoleto to Verstappen, Gasly. I like that, the flame. Yes. Or maybe Verstappen, Ocon instead of Gasly. With the rain for qualifying, I wonder if McLaren can be dropped for Red Bull now. I mean, Lando is still a good wet weather driver. Like, he won in Australia, he won Silverstone, so I wouldn't be too bad. Greetings, Norris, Verstappen. I'm going to go Verstappen. My team is Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Gasly, plus McLaren, Mercedes. Should I go with Ocon or Hadjar? I would go with Ocon. Alonso, no matter what, is going to drop. Swap for Colapinto. What is the risk of DNF at this track? There's only been 3 DNF here in 2 seasons, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. And then, yeah, Colapinto will... oh my goodness. Colapinto won't lose you any budget. So let's see. You're the best. Also agree on Ferrari, making me way too anxious to be willing to gamble on LOL. Here's to everyone getting a good and peaceful night's rest after this. It'll be like a peaceful morning's rest, but I'm assuming I'm going to go back to bed, but watch qualifying in bed after this. And then I'm assuming my wife will roll over and ask me to make her coffee, which I definitely will, because I probably have woken her up at 3 o'clock to talk about F1 Fantasy with y'all. But, those are the breaks, and I can make myself a second coffee. I'm 520 overall after bad 4 weeks. I now have Norris, Russell, Gasly, Sainz, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes. Don't know what to do. Get Bortoleto out of there, Jay. Get him out. Nobody even wants him. So maybe for Ocon. Man, those cats need out. Yes, they do. The cats are planning their jailbreak. Yeah, it's today. Today is the day that cat quarantine ends. So last night they kind of like met each other a little bit. There was only one hiss, which I consider a win. And yeah, that is what it is. Hadjar, Behrman, or Ocon? Behrman for me. Lawson plus Alonso, Gasly plus Alonso, or Gasly plus Colapinto. Ugh. What's Lawson on for budget builder? Let's see here. Not looking great, Bob. 84% chance. I'd probably go Gasly plus Colapinto there. How do you tell Alfie and Midge apart? What's up, Alfie, says Javier. Midge has a little bit of a smaller tail. Like, actually quite a little bit of a shorter tail. So we think she was maybe like in an accident and her tail is shorter. It's so sad. But, yeah, we're talking about you. But she's sleeping right now. And Alfie is at my feet. So I think all the cats are asleep. I'm hoping my wife is asleep. Okay. Norris, Ocon, Red Bull, autopilot with Verstappen, or Russell, Behrman, McLaren. Ooh. That's really tough. I kind of like that Norris, Ocon, Red Bull side, to be honest. It's not bad at all. Santiago Garcia 99 is in the chat. Hi, Ewan. Is it worth to get rid of Alonso? My current team rolling 2 transfers is McLaren, Aston. My current team is McLaren, Aston, Verstappen, Norris, Gasly, Sainz, Alonso. Yes, I would get rid of Alonso, but everything else looks okay. I don't like Aston Martin. I gotta tell you right now, Santiago, that I do not like Aston Martin one iota. But where can you go with them? Where could you go? Aston Martin. But you can't really go anywhere with them either. And going up to Haas is 3.3 million in budget. Jeez Louise, that's a lot of money. But you gotta do what you gotta do. I kind of like those drivers though. Behrman isn't great on low drag tracks like Vegas. VCarb are, but Lawson and Hadjar feels risky. Surely they feel risky to me, Nigel. I agree. The thing about Behrman is anyone can DNF at any time, right? Like any driver on the grid can DNF. There's 20 of them on the grid. But Behrman has this advantage this week of even if he DNFs, he cannot mess up my plans for the future. Like if I back Ocon and he just has like a random DNF, like say like Ocon randomly gets T-boned by Lance Stroll, like when would that ever happen? like my plans are in the mud, and that's kind of what happened with Gabby Borletto in Brazil. So I'm kind of like having a little bit of like like it's happening afterwards. Oh my goodness, my brain is not working. But like from Brazil, I'm having some after effects because if I had just taken the hit of Bortoletto up to Behrman, I could have locked in a 0.6 price rise at least. And if you DNF, at least I have that to fall back on. So maybe that's just like playing a little bit too much short swords and shields and leaning towards the shields department a little bit to kind of steal an FPL term. But Behrman gives me that flexibility. And also he's like a tiny bit of a cash cow. Like he's going to be what, 9.3 million by the end of, or 9.5 million. So if I can go down from him to a Fernando Alonso for Qatar, that's 5 million in savings. That allows me to go a lot of places on the grid. So that's kind of nice as well. I'm concerned with going to Ocon that I'd make too many moves in Qatar to get a 418 for 3x, since I'd likely have to drop Ocon next weekend for Gasly and likely swap back to Norris. That is a good point. That's the problem with using 2 free transfers. I wish I had 3 free transfers this week. That would be really nice. Hoping Antonelli qualifies low. Let's see here. He's looked pretty solid during free practice, but a manager can hope. Yeah, I think Antonelli is going to do pretty well. Unlike in Brazil, it seems Antonelli is slower than Russell. Yeah, I think it's going to be tough to tell, but Russell is the defending champion at this race, and I understand that Antonelli had a good Brazil and beat him on track in Mexico, but I'm still going to ride with the consistent ceiling of George Russell. Like, he has won 2 races this season. Like, it feels a little bit crazy just because Antonelli had one really good weekend in Brazil to just totally dismiss George Russell. Antonelli is still a great option if you are on the smaller side of the budgets. Like if you're below 130 million, like then definitely go with Antonelli. There's nothing wrong with Antonelli, but if you have the option of Russell versus Antonelli, for me, it's not much of a contest. That's all I'll say. Ocon, Hadjar, or Behrman, Colapinto. That's where it gets close, and I'd probably go Ocon, Hadjar for me. Went to 3x and Limitless. I would 3x Limitless in Abu Dhabi and 3x in Qatar as V23. Hey, Ewan, I have Max, Antonelli, Sainz, Colapinto, Behrman, McLaren, Mercedes with 1.6 million left and 2 free transfers. I don't know what to do. Maybe Colapinto to Hadjar / Alonso / Gasly, or a completely different team with Max. No, I like the one move strategy you've got here, Zen95. And I would go Colapinto. I'd probably go Colapinto to Hadjar if you're in the points business. My team is Norris, Leclerc, Bortoletto, Gasly, Sainz, McLaren, Mercedes. 2 free transfers. Is Leclerc and Bortoletto both a sell? I'm 1.2k. I don't think Leclerc is necessarily a sell. I know he's probably going to drop, or is he going to drop in budget? I like know all this stuff for 2 weeks and then I dump it on my brain. So Leclerc is probably going to drop 0.1. That's not a problem. Bortoletto is going to drop 0.6. That's a little bit of a bigger deal. So Bortoletto is the bigger priority for me. What team would I build for 129 million, Matthias? Something very similar to this with Ocon. And then I would drop, let's see here. So if I go Antonelli and bring in Ocon, that leaves me with 8.6 million in the bank. So that would be, this lineup is like 129.6 million. So maybe just Sainz down to Hadjar. And that should get you enough. I think that's 128.8 million. So that should be good. Is Charles still an option? Yeah, I think he likes Vegas. He's good around Vegas. It's not bad at all. I think 3x in Qatar because it's sprint. You've lost most of the benefit of Limitless at this stage. So any other race, you can confidently predict the top 5 drivers, I guess. Behrman can DNF like 2 times this weekend, still get a price rise. He only needs negative 41 for 0.2. Slugger says Verstappen, Behrman, Ocon, Gasly, Sainz, McLaren, and Mercedes or autopilot chip with Russ, Antonelli, Ocon, Gasly, Sainz, McLaren, Mercedes for negative 10 points. I wouldn't get a team in specifically for the autopilot chip Slugger. I don't think I've ever called anyone Slugger in my entire life. but like that's like an old school movie kind of thing, right? Um, like Lois Lane would call Superman Slugger or something like that. But I think I would go with the first option. And that's not a cat, that's my stomach. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that. Uh, so I would never really set up a team specifically for autopilot. I would maybe just save it for Abu Dhabi there. Hey, Ewan, would you keep Sainz or get Gasly in, considering I'll need Gasly anyway in Qatar to play my 3X with Norris Verstappen? If that's the only free transfer you're going to make and you kind of need 3 free transfers for Qatar to set up your team, then I like that. I would say that Sainz is more likely to score more points than Gasly this weekend, just based on like Williams looking quite strong here. But Williams have had a lot of days where they look strong on Friday and they kind of drop off on Saturday. So going Gasly now is probably not the worst option. If there's rain, then glad I went with Max, says Glenn. Oh, M. Confirmation that it rains for qualifying, but it's very dry for Saturday night. Leaving Norris in with final fix chip in mind. If Norris looks bad, we'll swap him out for Verstappen, but if he looks good, I'll have 3 transfers next round. Don't mind that at all, Yorksnet. Especially if you got it. Well, oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Verstappen, Behrman, Sainz versus Norris, Hadjar, Behrman. Wow, that is super tight. I think I would lean Verstappen, Behrman, Sainz there, M. Verstappen, Russell, McLaren, Mercedes versus Verstappen, Norris, Red Bull, Mercedes. No autopilot left. If you're using 3X in Qatar, then I'd go left. If you're not using 3X in Qatar, then I would attack this race and go right. Do you think Max is going to be that much better than Norris this weekend to warrant bring him in? Thinking for the future. Let's see here. It's a really tough question because McLaren could be sandbagging, but I think they've shown us enough that they don't vibe with Vegas. So I think like that's just like staring us in the face. So I think I'm going to get off. I don't want double McLaren exposure here. It feels wrong. And like not having Red Bull, a tiny bit of Red Bull, feels wrong as well. So for me, I think it's worth the transfer and I'm willing to take it. If I have to, if Piastri shows up in Qatar, then I will gladly take a hit to get that going or whatever. But if I don't, I just have to transfer Max back to Lando, that's not a problem either. So I'm not too worried about that, but I think I'm going to attack this race with Max, wet qualifying, new engine in the back of that Red Bull from Brazil. McLaren vibes are not great in Vegas. They've got some weird telemetry, electrical issues going on. So I think all the evidence is pointing towards going with Max. And like, honestly, if I didn't have the 3X chip ready to go for Qatar, I would think about getting off of McLaren a lot more, but that me thinking about the future is just keeping McLaren in. I think that's what it is. Your first combo, McLaren Mercedes, is probably better than okay. Better pairing. Antonelli plus Behrman, 66%. Russell plus Alonso, 34%. All right, we're going to end that poll. Anyone have any questions you want to ask for the final 30 minutes? And we can put it in a poll. I could also keep Norris in final fix for Verstappen. You could do that, but I think Verstappen's going to get pole. Hey, you and just ate dinner. Are you locked in yet? I am close to being locked in. I think I know what's going on in my team. I think I know what I'm going to get up to. We've got Adam locked in from F1 Fantasy. He's got Verstappen, Russell, Gasly, Hadjar, Colapinto with McLaren and Mercedes. Anyone else is locked in? Pop Pan Man is considering using the autopilot chip. Formula Fantasy Hub is going Bortoletto to Ocon. Autopilot active. Rolling a transfer to the sprint next week. Doesn't feel great swerving Verstappen. Still get the second free transfer spare if I have change of heart. Early lock-in with evening commitments. Good luck, everyone. Pop Pan Man is in the chat. Verstappen, Russell, Colapinto, Sainz, Hadjar with McLaren, Mercedes. All right. I feel like it's time. I feel like it's time to get this locked in, huh? Let's see here. Let's go. Yeah, so we've got 30 minutes to go. Yeah. Is this race the best for autopilot with the ones remaining? I guess it Ow. Ow. I guess it depends on what your team is, William. So if you let me know what your team is, I can let you know. Yeah, I'm leaning Verstappen plus Behrman plus Sainz myself. Thanks, mate. You are very welcome. Just ate dinner. We're propping our eyelids open here. Yeah, we sure are. Do I take a -10 for Bortoleto to Gasly? If you need to avoid the price drop, sure. But I'd probably go Bortoleto to Ocon. Just a heads up there, Bill. Hi, Ewan. I had Norris, Russell, Gasly, Bortoleto, Lawson plus Mercedes, McLaren, 139.3. Thinking Norris, Verstappen, Bortoleto, Behrman. What do you think? Thanks. Chef's kiss, Bowie knife, because that's pretty much what I'm going to do as well. What do you think of Verstappen, Russell, Albon, Williams, Gasly, Behrman, Williams, Mercedes? I think it's a bold strategy, Cotton, but Williams looks strong. I think so, with the weather and the cold, slippery track. Team right now is Sainz, Antonelli, Norris, Tsunoda, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes. Thinking of going Bortoleto, McLaren to Red Bull, Albon. McLaren, Vegas, as you said, not good, but keeps Norris 2x. Yeah, I'd want some exposure to McLaren just to make life easier in Qatar if you have the extra DRS boost chip. So whatever option you think is best, go with that. I prefer to keep the constructor personally. Matthias says, my team is Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Ocon, Gasly, plus McLaren, Mercedes. Should I swap Sainz? I lost the chat. Oh, it was removed. 2x on Russell or Max? I would go with Max. Crazy idea. Should I pick Antonelli and final fix to Russell to get points and the 0.6 increase? That is a strategic way to use the final fix, and I think it's quite good. Yeah, that's pretty solid. You just might be... Like, Antonelli might score more points than Russell this weekend, so I guess you'll just have to make that call whenever you can. Gasly, Colapinto, Behrman, or Gasly, Ocon, Sainz? Gasly, Ocon, Sainz for me. Just locked it in. My team, McLaren, Mercedes, Verstappen, Hadjar, Sainz, Gasly, Alonso. Okay. I don't mind that team at all. William says, I have a team with Norris, Russell, and a team with triple McLaren. Okay. I like the Norris-Russell team, and that could be pretty good for autopilot chip, just in case McLaren is for some reason sandbagging, but I would back the defending champion here. Verstappen plus Antonelli autopilot feels a little bit hopeful there, Sammy. I would probably just save it. Jcan says Verstappen, Russell, Tsunoda, Sainz, Gasly, Red Bull, Mercedes, or Verstappen, Russell, Sainz, Hadjar, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes. I like the... I kind of like that first team more, actually, Jcan. So that's maybe where I'd go. My team is Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Ocon, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes. Should I carry 3 transfers for next race or consider swapping Sainz or Ocon for Hadjar? I don't think you need to consider swapping Sainz or Ocon for Hadjar, so carrying 3 free transfers is good. Burn third free transfer on Alonso to Hadjar, Ocon, or save it. Man, that is really close, Dino. If it was like just your second free transfer, then I'd say yes. I think Ocon's going to be worth it. I think either of those guys will be worth it. I'm not expecting a lot from Fernando Alonso. As long as it doesn't put you in too much of a pickle for the for Qatar, then I would. It has my stamp of approval. Let's see. With 2 free transfers, I can do Leclerc to Piastri and Bortoleto to Ocon. I don't want Russell because I want a differential. Should I stay with Leclerc or what? I wouldn't do Piastri. I would I'd keep Leclerc. I think he can outscore Piastri this weekend. On a road trip to Vermont for a weekend rally race right now. Gonna lock in Verstappen, Antonelli, Behrman, Sainz, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes. Sounds solid. I like it. Sainz or Hadjar? I think Sainz for the combo of ceiling plus budget rise, but it can't go wrong with either option, Alligator. Thoughts on Verstappen, Russell, Behrman, Hadjar, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes with no negative? Sounds good. Sounds solid. My bad. I meant Verstappen, Russell, Albon, Behrman, Gasly, Williams, Mercedes. Just woke up, LOL. Yeah, that's a solid team. Yeah, Williams is a little bit risky, but no McLaren as well, so I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm still in the air about which to bring in, Ocon or Hadja. Definitely overthinking it. Okay, let's do this. We're just going to make a poll here. Better pick. We're going to do Sainz. We're going to do Ocon. We're going to do Hadjar. Start poll. Vote away, my friends. Vote away. So, like I said, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are 13 subscribers away from 4,000, which is crazy. I was hoping for 4,000 by the end of the season, and we're about to knock it out with 3 races to go. So, like, there's 26 minutes left in this stream. We've got race review tomorrow. Yeah, don't forget. Is this cool down room? Yeah, cool down room, race review. 1 hour after the Grand Prix tomorrow. I highly doubt most of you are going to want to be staring at my face an hour after the Grand Prix tomorrow, but I will be here chit-chatting F1 Fantasy as we have to get turned around quite quickly to go to the Qatar Grand Prix. So, yes, there we go. Have Final Fix, 3X, Autopilot. Wait, okay, 3X, Autopilot, and Final Fix left. With just 3 races left, how would you play your chips? 3X in Qatar, Autopilot in Abu Dhabi to take a punt, and Final Fix with whatever opportunity shows up best here, Rithvik. My team is locked in at Norris, Russell, Sainz, double Alpine, McLaren, Mercedes. Use Autopilot here, or potentially wait to Final Fix max if needed. My last 2 chips. That's tough. Autopilot can really just be played at any race, Mitch. I mean, you could even play it next weekend at the sprint. So maybe you do want to hold off and wait for the Final Fix chip. Good luck to everyone this weekend. Good luck to you too, The Flame. Who do I use my second free transfer to get rid of? Bortoleto, Alonso, or Colapinto? I would use it on Bortoleto, Captain Frogman. Hello from DC. Currently have Norris, Piastri, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes. Thinking Piastri to Russell, Alonso to Ocon, maybe Hadjar, or Piastri to Antonelli and Alonso to Behrman. Thoughts? I think I like the Piastri to Russell side there. Have Norris, Russell, Sainz, Alonso, Colapinto, and 3X chip with 2 free transfers. Thoughts? I would get rid of Alonso, but I don't know where you'd go. Maybe Norris to Max and Alonso to Hadjar would be your best transfers there, Luis. K. Hagen78 says, can we get you to 4K subs before quali? You're so close. I am very close. You're right, but y'all have been crushing it. Y'all have been crushing it. So, I mean, I don't, like, 4K would be incredible. So, but we got Zach locked in here. Locked in. Risk it for the chocolate biscuit. Enjoy the racing, everyone. Verstappen, Russell, Behrman, Colapinto, Alonso. Interesting. Interesting lineup from him. Alrighty, let's get this going. I'm going to do Verstappen. I'm bringing in these guys. I think it's a little bit boring, but this is pretty much what I've been on for 2 weeks, and I hate when I don't trust myself, so I'm going to lock this in, guys. Any news on the McLaren cars? Haven't seen anything drastic. I'm assuming it's fine. And another thing about it is, like, the elite data, global top 500, 98% of the global top 500 have McLaren, and I just don't think anyone else has really stuck their hand up. So if McLaren double DNF this weekend, like, everyone's going to get hit with a negative 40, so it's fine. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's fine. So let's lock this bad boy in here. I'm going to 2X Max Verstappen. And I'm feeling okay. I kind of hate that I've been flip-flopping between Lando and Max, but it's all good. These are the changes I should have made last weekend in Brazil, but it is what it is. Okay. F1 TV just discussed McLaren cars. Sounds like they're fine, says Benods. So there we go. All right. Confirm changes. Bada bing, bada boom. That is done. Let me just load this up on the old Twitter so that I can post that here real quick. And then we will lock it in for the final 21 minutes of this deadline stream. Y'all have been absolutely crushing it. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you coming out for this 2-hour deadline live stream. My cats and my wife have not murdered me yet for keeping them up for 2 hours, so I think that is also successful in my eyes. And let's see here. I gotta find the template for lineup lock. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. The lineup is locked for, oh my goodness, the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Was hoping to save a transfer, but trying to be more aggressive as the season winds down. Good luck, everyone. See y'all on the other side. F1 Fantasy. Boom. There we go. Okay. Only 7 likes? I hope that's not true. That would be very mean, Glenn. That would be very, very upsetting. Considering there's 140 people like watching it right now. Surely y'all are. So, but surely you guys can get me more likes than 7. 7? What is this, George Costanza? All right. Both are fine for qualifying. Keep them both. Oh, I missed some chat. I just got Behrman and Verstappen locked in. Kept McLaren, Hadjar, and Norris. Was close, thinking Sainz can grab some overtakes. Albon seems faster this weekend from the Williams duo. Yeah, but Sainz is kind of getting it done at the second half of the season. Max, Kimi, Sainz, Bortoleto, and Hadjar plus Ferrari and Merckx, or triple Merckx and McLaren. Ooh. I really don't like Ferrari. I'm not really a big fan of Bortoleto either, Sahil. So maybe it's triple Merc time for you. Elda Nilp. Behrman plus Hadjar, Ocon plus Sainz. Oh, that's so tough. Probably Behrman just for the guaranteed price rise. Is it worth swapping Leclerc for Russell and taking a negative 10 hit? Oh, the upside is there. George. But that is mighty close. I'd probably go with it just to avoid the Ferrari pain. The Ferrari pain is too much. Team calculator, T3. I'm going to use my extra DRS boost because this is the George Russell League. So we'll see how that goes. What do we got here? This is where I'm just going to go full Sims on it. So don't worry about it. It's going to be Mercedes. And then I can upgrade Oscar to Max and bring in, where are we at? Oh my goodness. Why is this happening? What do we got here? Oh, and Hadjar for Bortoleto. Okay. Hadjar for Bortoleto. And there you go, Hadjar. So I'll have a little piece of Hadjar this weekend. That's kind of exciting. I haven't been able to cheer for Red Bull or Racing Bulls for a minute. Confirm, apply chips, extra DRS boost. There we go. There we go. Let's see what happens there. That's the George Russell mini league right there. And then what about my T2 squad? Just go pure Sims here. Oh, no extra DRS boost chip on this one. So just Verstappen and Hadjar in for Norris and Hulkenberg. Okay, sure. Verstappen in for, who does it want me to bring in? Hadjar. Bring in Hadjar again. 1.6 million. Well, let me see here. I'll go. That's kind of boring. I'll go with Liam Lawson. Let's get weird. All right, go there. Confirm changes. How many chips do I have left on this team? Okay, just the final fix squad. Okay, we are back in business. Hi, Ewan. Do you reckon it's worth doing racing bulls and have 3 driver lineup of Verstappen, Russell, and Leclerc? I hope you're using an autopilot chip there, King Keza, but they look okay. Thanks, Ewan and M.97. But yeah, racing bulls look fine. Rethinking my transfer out now. Do I give up Alonso or Colapinto? And do we think Hadjar or Ocon as the transfer in? If you're choosing between the two, I mean, Alonso is probably going to drop 0.4 million in budget. So you probably want to avoid that if possible. And then I'd go with Ocon. He has a slightly easier rise. Alonso to Colapinto? Sure. Better pick. Wow. Hadjar 43%, Sainz 34%, Ocon 24%. It's raining. And I refresh my page and there's 101 likes. My bad. That's okay, Glenn. You know, sometimes I just forget to plug that you should be liking stuff. So I appreciate that. Love the Seinfeld reference. Norris or negative 10 points to get Verstappen. I don't think there's going to be 10 points between them. So I'd probably keep it as with Norris. Autopilot as well. Yeah, go with autopilot if you've got a strong, like 2 or 3 strong drivers in your lineup. I'll just have my main team on the page here just so people know what I went with 15 minutes to go. What do you think going with Verstappen, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a little full send, but I like it. I don't mind it at all. Let's see here. Ferrari, Red Bull, or McLaren. I have Max, Russell, Sainz, Gasly, Colapinto, and Behrman. I think I'm still going to stay with McLaren. I just don't think enough people have put their hands up for me to get off of them. Norris and Russell, or Verstappen and Leclerc. Wow. That is really tough. Why not Verstappen and Russell? That's what I would go with. But I guess I'd lean Verstappen and Leclerc. What should I do? Norris, Leclerc, Behrman, Bortoleto, Colapinto, McLaren, Mercedes. Norris to Verstappen and Bortoleto to Ocon. I have 3X and autopilot chips left. Which one would you use for Vegas? Depending on your squad, Luis, I would probably save the 3X, so I'd use autopilot in Vegas. Swapping Behrman, Gasly to Ocon, Hadjar? No, I don't think you need to do that at all. Should I go Verstappen plus Norris? I have the budget. Instead of Norris plus Russell or Verstappen plus Russell, says Traveled Bones. I kind of like Verstappen Russell this weekend. As you can see, I went Verstappen Russell myself, Traveled Bones. So Verstappen Russell might be really good in Qatar if you can get to it there. What changes should I make? Norris, Leclerc, Behrman, Bortoleto, Colapinto, McLaren, Mercedes, 138.6 in the bank. Probably maybe just Bortoleto to Ocon there. It should be fine. Thinking of going Norris / Russell, should I autopilot? Also, I have 3X. That's a good team to autopilot on, Karan, because we don't know if McLaren is going to be any good here, just because the data has been all over the spot. And Russell is the defending champion, so he has shown that he can win in Las Vegas. What do you think of going with Verstappen, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes? I don't love Alonso, but everything else is fine. What do you think about McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Gasly, Behrman, Ocon, Tsunoda team? McLaren, Gasly, Behrman, Ocon, Tsunoda team. I think it's pretty strong. Yeah, no notes, I think. Unless you could do like Norris to Verstappen, Tsunoda down to like Colapinto, and I know, because I'd really just want you to upgrade Tsunoda up to Antonelli, but that's like a really big stretch. So no, I kind of like that squad. Max, Kimi, Sainz, Bortoleto, and Hadjar, Ferrari, and Mercs, or triple Merc and McLaren? I think I already answered that, Sahil, but I think I said I don't like Ferrari. Also, Ewan, don't feel bad about wasting your autopilot chip in Brazil. In hindsight, it would have come in brilliantly if there was chaos. I was hoping for chaos, but it did not work out, unfortunately. I also wasted my no negative chip. Thank you, good sir, says Karan. You are welcome, Karan. Thanks for joining. My team is very close to yours. I had to pick Hadjar instead of Sainz for budget. Would you use autopilot this chip or just wait it out for Qatar? My plan was Norris Piastri, but can't get budget this year. Yeah, I think it's really hard to tell who's going to win this race. So having the autopilot with Verstappen and Russell is probably the preferred method, actually. As I begin to slowly. Oh my goodness. The cats are so cute. I wish I could show them to you guys, but this is like it looks awful. You're welcome, Edlova. Max Kimi signs. Okay. I think I asked. I think I got you there, right, Sahil? I think I've answered that. Let me know if you missed it. Should I stay with the same team and then use Final Fix to change Lando for Max and get Hulkenberg for Ocon? I would get Hulkenberg. I would get Ocon. I prefer Ocon over Hulkenberg, if that makes sense. What else? What else? And then I guess you could bring in Max just to final fix in Lando, or keep Lando to final fix in Max. That could work because then you'd save him for Qatar. So that's not bad at all. Still 90 of you guys watching it. I really, really appreciate it. 11 minutes to go until qualifying. Gasly or Sainz or Ocon? Let's go check it out. Sainz is currently leading Ocon here in the pole, Arjun. But Hadjar is actually top at 44%. But I think I would rank them Ocon, Sainz, Gasly for me. Ran the F1 circuit last weekend, 32.51. Man straight was a full house, so I called it a few times to not hit. Anyway, hit the jackpot by sticking through the spheres. I still, you'll get there, Mitch. Hole Imi says, Ola Yimi says, any reason to not go for Ferrari? Because I enjoy my mental health, and I can't go into a race anymore with Ferrari. It makes me mentally sick. Ola Yumi. So that's why. Hey, Ewan, sorry I can't participate more often, but I just want to thank you for your dedication, even in these wee small hours. Respect. You are very welcome, Glenn. I appreciate you being along for the ride tonight. It has been a grand old time. Speed and Power 11111 says, locked in McLaren, Mercedes, 2X Max, Ocon, Gasly, Isaac, and Stroll. Ooh, Lance Stroll. I haven't seen anyone with Lance Stroll. That is pretty spicy. I like that. Sainz or Alonso? Sainz, Stanley Kubrick. Keep Gasly or switch to Ocon or Sainz. If it is your only free transfer, then go for it. I'd probably go to Ocon. But yeah. But if it feels like an unnecessary transfer, then sometimes the right move is to just do nothing at all. All right. Neutrum00 says, Ewan, keep fighting to sleep. I'm trying to sleep. I mean, we got this, and then we've got a quali to go. But yeah, definitely getting some sleep after this. So yes, no worries. Thank you for the advice. You're very welcome, Abdullah. I'm risking it all with Russell, Verstappen, Norris, with Williams and Mark. Oh my goodness. Are you playing autopilot chip, Mikkel? Let me know in the chat. Hey, sorry, I hit send without completing my whole message last time. So typing the whole thing. Max, Kimi, Sainz, Borletto, and Hadjar plus Ferrari and Mercs, or triple Merc and McLaren, or could do triple Merc and McLaren. I really don't like Ferrari. Let's see. Use 2X on Norris or Verstappen. I'd go with Verstappen, Willie. That's what I would do. Thanks for the help, my man. You are very welcome, JLP. Better weekend to use autopilot this week or Abu Dhabi? Have Max and Russ for Vegas. I'd probably use it this week. Max and Russ is really, those would be my two favorites, to be honest. All jokes about running the strip aside, thank you for live streaming. Super cool of you to put yourself on a live stream in the early AM. Thank you for the advice. Yes, hopefully I don't look too bad. Hopefully I'm getting my good side. Oh wait, I don't have one. You are very welcome, Mitch. Thank you for being along for the ride. Leclerc, Russell, Antonelli, Sainz, Alonso, Ferrari, Mercedes. What are you thinking? I am thinking that double Ferrari will probably result in me drinking a lot of beer at 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow if I was watching that squad. So I would maybe get off of the double Ferrari. But if you have to go down that route, I would use the autopilot chip if you have it left, PMAR 18. Antonelli plus Behrman plus Ocon, or Russell plus Hadjar plus Gasly. I don't think there's going to be a big enough difference between Russell and Antonelli, so I probably would go with Behrman and Ocon. Thank you. Great stream. Locked in. Verstappen, Russell, Sainz, Colapinto, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes with autopilot. Let's go. Let's go, alligator. Yes, thank you for joining. Russell, Hadjar, Gasly. Is it worth switching Kimi out for George if that means I take Colapinto over Gabby? I would honestly do No, I would do Gabby out for Ocon, Max Roscoe. So I would save that money. So Mikel says, yes, definitely use it auto. Okay, nice. 2x on Max or Russell. I would go with Max. My team, Norris, Alonso, Sainz, Tsunoda, Bortolotti, McLaren, Mercedes, would like Russell, Alonso, Sainz, Antonelli, Behrman, McLaren, Mercedes, autopilot. Yeah, Russell, Antonelli, autopilot. That's a strong play as well. Let's see. No negative activated on team 2. You would wake up. Time to lock in. Oh, I am locked in. Sorry, Mark. I'm already locked in. I've already made my 2 free transfers. This is my locked in team. So don't worry. It depends on if you need to make budget or not. I agree. 9 subscribers until 4,000. So I think we're going to make it there by the end of the season. I'd hope. Let's see here. What have we got going on X? Yes. Let me answer some questions on X. Norris, Tsunoda, Antonelli to Verstappen, Russell, Hadjar, or should I risk another week? No. I like the hit. People know I'm live streaming and they ask me questions on X sometimes, and I'm like, but you could just come over here and join us. Going the same, but Alonso over Sainz. Not sure if it's worth a -10 on B tiers. Let's see. Who else we got here? Chat. This whole X nonsense. Like, they still have messages, but then chat as well. It's quite annoying. Risk of rain for qualifying, 100%, says F1 Big Data. Oh, it's raining. Simply lovely. Simply lovely. Good luck, says Mark. You too, Mark. Should I do 2 free transfers for Verstappen, Russell, Hadjar, Sainz, Colapinto, or keep save a transfer Norris, Antonelli, Hadjar, Sainz, Gasly? I prefer Verstappen this week, Luca. So that's what I'd go with. Bit scared of rain and getting in Colapinto. Yeah, that could be a little bit disastrous. T1, no autopilot left for you. No, I burned it in Brazil, unfortunately, apps. So it didn't really work out at all. I didn't gain any money off of it or any points off of it, but I thought it was the right play at the time, so it's all good. Autopilot this week or next? I would do it this week because I'm really not sure if Piastri is actually going to show up. And I think Lando could be a pretty obvious 2x next week. Salvador says, is better Russell, Alonso, Sainz, Antonelli, Behrman, McLaren, Mercedes, or Verstappen, Alonso, Sainz, Antonelli, Colapinto, both autopilot? I think you have a higher upside going with the Verstappen. If you go Russell, Antonelli, then that's a better use of the autopilot chip technically, because I feel like it's closer between those two. But I think that second team with Verstappen is probably going to score more points, and you just might have to waste the autopilot chip, if that makes sense. So I'd probably go with Verstappen side for points, and then like you could hold off on the autopilot chip until Abu Dhabi. So just woke up in time. Russell and Behrman in for Nur. I don't know what that is. Mac Attack. Good luck to all, says Mac Attack. Should I use autopilot? Matthias. But then it went away. So I'm going to take it off the screen. Oh, man. That was a crazy 2 hours. So I'm going with Max and Kimi. Like your T2, autopilot worth or save? I think Verstappen will get the better of Antonelli. Better Verstappen or Norris for points? I'm going to back Verstappen, Salvador. Risk it and go Verstappen, Russell, Antonelli, Hadjar, sign with McLaren and Racing Bulls. I mean, we're getting to that time of year where you can risk it for the chocolate biscuit, as Zach GP likes to say. Not sure I would go there, but if you're doing Verstappen, Russell, Antonelli, I would prefer it with the autopilot chip. Matthias says, should I use autopilot? I have Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Ocon, Gasly. I think Verstappen's going to outscore Antonelli. Like, I would back that quite confidently. So then maybe I would just use it I would save it for Abu Dhabi, Matthias. That's probably what I would go with there, mate. Hopefully that makes sense. Should I play Nogada? don't do NN in Qatar. Oh, well. I have no negative on autopilot, but should I play no negative? Yeah. I like the first plan. Okay, guys. T-minus 54 seconds. I hope everyone's doing great. Thank you for tuning in for this 2-hour deadline stream. It's been super fun. And guess what? I forgot to, well, no, I didn't I have mentioned it, but cool down room episode 1 hour after the Grand Prix tomorrow. So I will see you again tomorrow, and then I will see you Monday for team selection. Then I will see you Wednesday for Q&A stream. Then I will see you Friday for final thoughts. I'll see you Saturday for deadline. I'll see you Sunday for race review again. So it's just going to be lots and lots of content coming out during this final triple header of the F1 fantasy season, and we are down to it. This is the third to last deadline. So we've only got 2 deadlines to go after this, and that is just crazy pants. So I hope you guys have all had a great 2 hours with me. I've had a great 2 hours with you. I'm going to go hop in bed and watch qualifying in bed. It looks like the rain is pouring down, says Benaz. Thank you for all your help. You are very welcome, Matthias. Have a great weekend, everybody, says Glenn. You too, Glenn. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. I'm going to go I'm going to watch quali. Hopefully it doesn't last 2 hours because of this rain, but we'll see. And I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And I will see you in like 27 hours for the race review stream, where hopefully we have all scored a boatload of points and having magnificent F1 fantasy weekends. So once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Good luck this race week. And I will talk to you tomorrow.